Hi everyone, hope you all are doing good. So before starting with today's topic, I would request every one of you, each one of you who are who really wanted to learn AI and ML, and these things will help them to grow in their career. And people who have already subscribed, please share this to their friends so even they can start learning on these things because these are the future. So yeah, guys, today we are going to discuss about Python data types and operators. So yeah, without delaying, let us start. So guys, here we are to understand Python data types and operators. Let us start. So guys, what is Python data types and operators? Basically, what are data types and what are the operators? Data types are nothing but the the kind of, or I can say the placeholder to to take input, uh, whatever we are giving, right? The input, user input it will take, and it will give you the output. How it will give you the output? Interpreter is not understanding the language which we are writing. Okay. So what interpreter will do? Okay, if I am writing int variable or int type, so I am assigning a variable with int numeric. So what Python interpreter will understand? Okay, this is a internally it is an int type, and I have to consider this as an int type. So that is why we do not have, like, we cannot write so many types. We have very stipulated amount of data types and operators to take into consideration, and those can be understandable by machines, right? Like whatever we are writing as a sentence, those cannot be considered. So what are the different types of data types, guys? We have numerical type, we have something called sequence type, we have set, we have mapping, we have Boolean type, binary type, and we have non-type. So our main consideration here should be like what we are doing. We are writing, or we are trying only most of the times on these data types: numerical, sequence, mapping, Boolean, and sometimes set as well. But set it is not needed. I will guys, I will show you each and every like most of this session we are going to cover the coding part only. So I will show each and every one example of these things. So guys, here we have seen what are the types of data array. Okay, now we will understand in each type what are the data types inside it. So if we are considering as a numerical data type, right? In numerical data type, we have int, float, and complex. It is nothing but we know, guys, when we are typing x equal to 5. So 5 is a numerical value, and it is considering it as a int type. Float, whatever the float, anything after decimal. Anything after decimal. If you're putting a dot and after that, if you're putting some value, that is getting considered internally as a float type. What is complex type, guys? Complex type again here is uh, the complex mathematical equations. Consider that the Python has that capability to compute all mathematical computations and mathematical equations and functions. So consider that if you are writing a vector function where you're just writing x3 plus 4i, right? So in that case, that is getting, if you write type of that type, right? If you're putting 3 plus 4i, so it is going to give you complex type. So similarly, we have something called sequence type. Sequence types are nothing but we have list, tuple, range. Okay. We will understand each again by through code. We have something called set type. We have in mapping we have something called dictionary. Dictionary, that this is the most usable thing, which is always getting represented by keys and value pair. We have something called Boolean, okay, which is nothing but true or false. And how Boolean type is getting considered by interpreter, guys? Interpreter will always understand the binary type only. If you're if you are inserting any number, it is going to convert it to binary, and it is trying to understand, and it is going to give you the output. So whatever you are writing, everything is getting converted to binary type. Okay. So if you are writing true or false, in case of Boolean true means it is going to be returned as 1. Boolean false means it is going to return as 0. We have something called binary type. Again, these things are not getting used much, but I have taken few examples just to give you some understanding of it. We have bytes, byte array, memory view. So these are the binary types. We have again something called non-type. Again, just this is inconsiderable at this point of time. It's not needed. Let us go through examples. So guys, if you see end, I have taken different categorization to show the different types and some example and what are the built-in functions for this. If you'll type this, and if it will assign you some variable, guys. Okay. So if we'll consider int, this is an example. A equal to 13 is an example. Float, again you can see this is an example. And built-in function you can see we have int, float, then complex. Complex we have, you can see here, right guys, one example I have shown you, 3 plus 4j. Then str is nothing but a string. Here I have written, you can see here, hello world. Then list again, you can see how list is getting represented, guys. These are the very important data structures, guys. We need to remember this throughout our till the AI completion of AI. Okay. Tuple again, fruits. Then we have something called range. Here you can see we are trying to assign with range function by like we are just trying to give 40 inside range function. Here we can see dictionary. Here again we are seeing how we are representing dictionary. So this is our key. This part is our key. This part is our value. Then we have something called set. This is the set. So this set is nothing but a set of values like which you are representing by as a list. Then this is a frozen set. You can see this is a frozen set. Again, this is just an example I have shown you guys. So the more emphasize, we are going to emphasize more on these things, specifically these things. Okay, then we have something called bool, which is true. Then byte array, memory view. Okay, these are the different type of data types. Now let us go ahead. So guys, there are few points to remember. So I'm covering, guys, mostly I'm covering theory part now, and I'm going to take you through code part, and code part is going to take more time, guys. So I'm covering these things first. The points to remember. So there are few points we have to take into consideration while working on these types, guys. Okay. One is the lists are mutable, but tuples are immutable. What are lists, guys? So lists I have shown you here how we are presenting it. You can see here we have written apple, banana, mango, and this is how we are putting inside a square bracket. Okay. So when we are saying those are mutable means, guys, what is the meaning of mutable? Mutable means we are modifying during our compile time. However, tuples are immutable. Tuples you cannot modify during our compile time. And I will show you one example what is the meaning of that through code. Dictionaries are always a key and value pair. For each key, there is an associated value to that. Okay, for example, if you consider JavaScript document, like when you're talking about DOM object, right? A JSON always takes key and value from each response from web page. So if you are seeing any JSON objects, right, you should be able to observe there that those are always in terms of key and value pairs, right? Then we have something called like we have various functionalities, built-in functions, which helps this data structures to uh, use or to extend more in various applications. Okay, we have very important function which is used in data science are indexing and slicing, which we will understand more remember these two words, guys, indexing and slicing, because these are the two things which we are going to use throughout our data science and AI journey. Okay, ML and AI journey. Okay. Dictionaries have again many built-in functions, which are keys, values, items, update, delete, pop. So we will see each and every example, guys. Let us go ahead. Let us see what are our operators. Operators, you can see I have categorized. We have logical operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, arithmetic operators, identity operators, membership and bitwise operators, guys. So, guys, what are logical operators? Logical means when we are writing and or not, and or not. These are our logical operators. We have assignment operators when we're assigning some variables, right? When we're putting equal, not equal, those are nothing but few examples of assignment operators. Comparison operators, comparing. When you're comparing, it always gives you either true or false. It always gives you a binary output, right? Sorry, Boolean output. So if you are putting equal means you are comparing whether that value is equal to that value or not, and it is going to give you the Boolean output, either true or false. Then we have arithmetic operators, which are nothing but plus, minus. We will understand these examples. Just I'm showing you through this slide, so it makes sense to you guys before going ahead for the coding part. This is identity operators, is not. These are the membership or bitwise operators. We will understand these parts, guys. Now, let us quickly go to our coding section. This is all for our PPT presentation, and let us go ahead to our coding part. So, guys, this is our coding part. Let us go through one after another. So, guys, this is nothing but our operator. This is a plus operator we have used, and we are printing sum of 5 numbers. You can see I had taken all five numbers, and I am trying to show you the output. See, I am getting the output, right? Then we are trying to understand the minus operator. Here we are taking difference of 3 numbers, and let me just show you the output. This is how we are getting the output. And like I have already mentioned, guys, you have to put shift plus enter, okay, to run that, or else you can come here and you can just run selected cell. It will run, right? Okay. Now let us go through the next one. Calculate the average age of 3 people. What we are trying to get? We are trying to get average age of 3 people. So we have taken 3 ages here, and we are trying to get average here. You can see we are trying to get average, and that average we are trying to print. And let us see what is the output we are getting. We are getting the output here. Okay. Now let us go move ahead, guys. See, this is nothing but our, what I have shown you. This is nothing but our floor division, right? This is our floor division, guys. So floor division means, guys, how many times a number will come inside this number. Let me take you to the whiteboard. I hope. Guys, let me just show you. When we are writing 100, floor, this is called floor operator, floor division operator, okay? So when I'm writing 100 divided by floor divided by 5, that means we are trying to understand how many times this 5 is coming in 100. So what should be the output here, guys? The output should be 20, right? 20 times my 5 should be coming with 100. Now let us try another example there, okay? Let us try that. Okay, let me go back. Now I want to know how many times my 20 is coming in 100. Now let us see. We are getting 5, right? So this is nothing but a floor division operator. Next we will come here, guys. We will understand what is the power. This is the power operator. Exponential we are talking. That exponential operator is this one. This is how I represent. So you can see I'm trying to get 5 fifth exponential of 5. Exponential here is nothing but power of 5. So you need to multiply with 5 times. You need to multiply 5 times 5, right? Let me just type it. Okay, so that is what I'm giving out. 3125 we got the output, right? Now let us go ahead to the next example. So many courses are there, guys. Be patient. Okay. Get salary of an employee by multiplying gross pay to 20. So we have taken we what we're trying to understand here is we are trying to understand multiple this multiplying operator. This is a multiple operator. We understood plus operator, minus operator. This is a multiplying operator, right? So now I can see I'm doing a cross operation to this gross and I'm trying to print the salary. Then we have modulo operator. Modulo means, guys, it means it will print remainder of any division. Let me take you to the whiteboard. So, guys, what my modulo operator will do? Consider that I am taking 100 mod. Let me just go back. What we have taken 90 modulo 8, right? 90 modulo 8 means what we're doing, we're trying to get the modulo, right? So we got 10. Now let us see. So we got the remainder as 2, right? So this is our remainder. And that same remainder we got here, 2, correct? Now I'll go back to the next example, guys. We will understand a few data types examples, right? This is a numerical type. So here I'm printing numerical value. So here and I want to see what is the type of this variable. So I'm getting int type, right? Similarly here, we have something called float type, right? You can see. Then now we are trying to get the type of true. So this is str. And if we'll write something like this mean, let me just show you one more example. This is a string variable, guys. Now, if I'll try to write something like this, and I wanted to see what is the type of x, what is the answer for this, guys? It should write bool, right? What I told you that true and false are boolean types, correct? Again, guys, this is the sentence I have written, and the same I'm trying to type. I'm trying to see the type, which is nothing but str. Similarly, we had some syntax like this. What I'm getting type? I'm getting type as a tuple. So, guys, mark carefully here. The tuples are always getting assigned inside this bracket, right? Inside this bracket, this type of bracket, correct? This is a square bracket. Inside square bracket, whatever we're trying to assign, those are called list type. Okay. Similarly, guys, if you'll see here, this is my curly braces. and I'm trying to see the type which it is giving me as a dictionary type, correct? Here again, guys, what I told you that set is a type of like we have something called dictionary, right? Dictionary always takes a key. So this part is my key, this part is my value, this part again is my key, and this part is my key, this part is my value. And always this key and value pair is getting separated with a comma. You can define or you can declare as many as dictionary key value pairs, and those will be useful wherever your application needs, right? Now let us understand, okay, this is a set type. Same kind of curly braces you are going to use, but you're just going to insert variables like multiple values, right? So that is called set type. Then we have defined something called x equal to 3 plus 4j, and the type we are trying to see, which is nothing but complex, right? You can see. So guys, the next example is range. How we are defining range? So we are defining range by using range function, guys. You can see I have defined range. Then inside that I have taken 2,7. So what is the output it should give me? Now I am trying to see type of x, right? Now let me try to print it and see what is the output I am getting, just for your understanding, okay? Print of x. See, I'm getting this. But again, guys, range variables, right? Range types can be uh, iterated through loops only. So we will understand more when a loop condition is coming, and at that time I'm going to explain you more on this, like how we are going to use range there. But now we are trying to understand these are the different type of types, and these are the types which we are going to use throughout our journey, right? Now let us understand. And okay, we have completed this. We have added this, and I have seen. Okay. Now, guys, let us try to understand this. X equal to b, and we're trying to write some sentence. So these kind of types are nothing but called bytes. These are the bytes type. Okay, this is how the bytes are getting defined or assigned. And this is nothing but a string byte, like string type you are assigning. Again, this is nothing but you are trying to assign some kind of list inside bytes, right? And again, you are trying to see, okay, this is the type I am getting. And if you try to see the print statement, it will give you the list, I believe. See. Okay, guys, what it is happening, I'll tell you. So when we are trying to print this, right, see here we have entered, what we have entered, here we have entered the numbers, right, list of numbers. See, if somebody will see, they will say, okay, these are the list of numbers. But how it got this value? So let me go to the whiteboard quickly. So guys, when I'm writing this, right, just a second, let me copy this code. When I'm copying this, just I copied this code, guys. Now when you have written this, right, 7200, what you have written? You've written 72, 101, 108, 108, 111. So guys, you can see these are my numbers, and how these numbers are getting represented by our interpreter. So what we are calling them, guys, we are calling them as a ASCII key. ASCII key. We are calling them as ASCII key. So we like whatever the numbers we have, right, from 0 to 9, from A to Z, this is the capital one. Then from small a to small z, everything has some identification in front of interpreter, and those are called ASCII values. Now let me just show you one example of ASCII values. Okay, let me just show you that so that you will get more understanding. See, this is my ASCII table, right? If you type ASCII value, you should be able to get this kind of table. Let me open this. So see, this is my table. So if you consider, guys, see, what is my first value? 72. 72, where it is? See, it is giving me H. So guys, if you see here, okay, just let me show you. So guys, if you see here, this one, right? 72 is nothing but our H value, right? Let me write it here. This is my H. Now, what is the next value, guys? 101. Let us see what is 101. 101 is nothing but a small e, correct? So, this is E, and I believe 108 should be 8. Sorry, L. So, I can see L, and this is small. So, this is nothing but my output which it is giving me, right? Hello. The same thing. That is why it is bytecode test. Bytecode means it will take the ASCII values of those things and it will give you the output. Now, let us print the above example, guys. Once, just let us do that. This is a complete statement, guys. So it is not going to convert that to ASCII. So that is why I have shown you an example here so that you will get understanding on these ASCII values and all, right? Now let us see this one. This is nothing but a empty bytes. So it will create 5 byte size in a memory and it will print it. It will not print anything because it is empty. Just I'm trying to show you once. See, it is just giving you the memory size. That is all. That is why it is byte size. We are talking about byte size, right? Bytes, bits. So this is that type only. This is memory view, guys. If you see, this is the type memory view. So what is the memory view, guys? It directly able to access the data by internal memory without consuming any additional memory and byte array, and helpful for large data sets. So memory view we are using for large data sets. So I'm not seeing much much use case of this one. Just I thought of showing you, so I have shown you here, guys. Now let us go ahead. So again, whenever you're trying to print something in memory view, I have already explained you, it will always take the ASCII value of the data bytes of first element and it will give you, right? Now let us understand the important part. Now let us understand the important part, guys. Where were we? Yeah. We have something called indexing and slicing, guys. So indexing and slicing is a part of your data structure. So whenever you are assigning or you are trying to assign some lists, some tuples, some dictionaries. So those values, dictionaries we cannot, but lists and tuples, arrays, okay, those things we cannot. We can we can take a bite chunk of those large lists and tuples and we can reuse it reuse it in our course and everything, right? Now let us see. This is one variable I have taken, guys. It's a string type variable. So I have taken from A to Z. And I'm trying to fetch the third elements. See, let me go to the whiteboard. So guys, so when I'm writing S equal to, let me copy this. Now, okay, when you're writing, guys, s equal to some value a, b, c, d, a. So, guys, how it is getting presented in our memories here in memory, one like one character is having some kind of index. So this index position is 0, this index position is 1, this index position is 2, this index position is 3, this index position is 4. So that is nothing but our index. When you're talking about any kind of data structure, you should always define an index of it. If you wanted to fetch some value of it, so you should know the index. What is the meaning of index, right? Index is nothing but a position. Index is a position in terms of memory of that data structure, correct? Now let us print it. If you wanted to see, for example, guys, if I wanted to see S of 0, any guesses, guys? It should give me A, right? When we are trying to print S of 1, it is going to give me B, correct? So now, guys, let us try to understand S of 4. Guys, let me know what it is. It should be E. Now, if you try to fetch, guys, one important thing, if you try to fetch S of 5, will it work? It will not. Why? Because my size of this list, is still 5. When you're talking about 5, that is nothing but our n minus 1 size. So in my memory, it is getting saved as 4. It is not 5. Correct? So that is why I'm going to get a what? Bound, like there is something called some exception called index out of bound or index out of range. Index out of bounded. So that is how our indexing part works, guys. So the same thing I have shown you here. See, if you see, right, this is my 0th element. This is my first element. This is my second. This is my third. And this is my fourth. So which item I have to show here, guys? I have to show third. So guys, you have to practice these things. Otherwise, these concepts you will always become confused and you will make mistakes. Because these are the things which we are going to understand throughout our data science journey, because very soon I'm going to start with the data science part, and I want every one of you to practice these things before those sessions or those classes, right? Now let us try to print str7. What is the output I am getting? Let us see that. I am getting, see, let us see, 0, 1, B is 1, C is 2, D is 3, E is 4, F is 5, G is 6, H is 7, right? So, str7. Okay. Now let us see how slicing works. Slicing always works with the last index value treated as n minus 1. So, consider that. Let me go to the whiteboard again, guys. So, guys, when I'm writing this, right, S equal to, let me take a list better, right, for your understanding, correct? So, A, I'm taking a list like this. Just a second. Yeah. Now, I'm trying to write a list. So, this list variable has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 elements. And let us try to assign indexes, guys. Okay, this is my 0th position. This is my first position, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now understand guys, when we're talking about slicing means I want a chunk continuous data. Chunked continuous data. That means I wanted, for example, I wanted to get from this to this. I wanted to get from this to this. What should be the syntax for that? So what we are going to write here guys, we have to write S of 1 first index colon, this is the first position, second position, third position. If we write 2, we should be able to get it. Right? Now let us see that. Let us try that. Let me take another example. Okay, just to show you here. The same, okay. Let me just take one simpler example for better understanding. Okay, let me take it here. Okay. S equal to, let me take a. So guys, one more update. When you're defining any list or any tuple or anything, right? You can write, or any string. You can write with this, like this, or you can write like this. Both should have the same meaning. But in some cases, when we're trying to write both like this, it will give you an error. Right? So let us try to understand that. Just a second. Let me try to define a list value. A, B, C, D, and E. One more is F. So what I want to print, I wanted to print S of 1 colon 2. Now let us see what it is giving. It is giving me B. Okay. So let us try to see. 3. Now it is giving me B till C. So if we see guys, so if you see guys, this is, see, when we're talking, right, we are talking, this is first element, second element, third element, fourth element. But when we are trying to put the numbers, what it is, we are putting it n minus 1, correct? So like in our understanding point of view, we are putting it, we are considering, like in our memory, we are considering that is n minus 1 because we don't have any starting indexes 1. We have a starting indexes 0. So that is how we are presenting, guys. Again, we will take one more example here. Let us do that. Let me close this. Okay. Okay. Now let me take another example of this. Let me try to print this. Let us see. See guys now. So when we are telling, right, we are telling, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need the fifth position output. Like I need the output till fifth position. Do we have fifth position anything as such in our list? We don't have, right? The index starts at 0 and it follows like continuously till 4th. So that is we are typing 1 colon 4. That is how we are getting the output is D. So let us try to get another example here. Nice. Slicing works other way. See here again in the top example, DE we want, right? DE. See, we want this chunk, correct? Now let us try to understand. No, D, okay. 0. So DE, guys, DE means what it is exactly, guys? We are trying to understand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct? So how we are trying to print? DE. See, D and E. This is third, 0, 1, 2, 3, D and E. This is fourth, fifth. Fifth minus 1. So E. Correct? So when we are considering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now let us try to take another example. Guys, sometimes I am also getting confused. This is a strong concept, guys, and you have to practice this a lot to be perfect in this part, guys. Okay, now let us try to do another example. Okay, let me do it here only. Okay, now let us try to understand 3 to 7. Let me take it here. So guys, count it. This is 0, 1. B position, like B's position is 1. C's position is 2. D's position is 3. So my first element is D. Then 4E, 5F, 6G, 6G, then 7H. Even though we are writing 7, we are printing till n-1 element, right? That is how I've explained. So the last index should be n-1. So whatever the position it is given, it has asked you, you need to consider the n-1 position. So you can see it is printing till G. So D is nothing but my third, E fourth, F fifth, G sixth. So it is printing me G. So n-1 till 6th position it printed. Okay. Now we will go to the next parts. Next, we have something called guys tuples, right? So tuples are nothing but these are again one type of data structures, and this is how we are presenting these data structures. Again, I have already explained you guys, tuples are immutable. Let me explain you what is the meaning of immutable, guys. So when you're considering list, right? If you'll consider list, in list you can append, you can delete, you can pop, you can replace, you can modify all such things when it is coming to a list. But the same kind of things you cannot do it in tuplets. Tuples is not following this mutable concepts. It is immutable, right? Now we have few methodologies which it is following. So if you want to understand the index, so guys, again I told you that each and every data structures are following a type of indexes. So all the indices start with 0 and it follows till n-1, correct? So here again, if you wanted to print the index of D, consider they wanted to print index of D, you can type tuples dot index. This is the index method. This is the index method, and I'm trying to print D. Right? Then next, I wanted to print the index of E. Right? Then I wanted to print the index of F. So if you count, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. My position it is coming 3, right? This is 4, right? F is my 5. Then we have something called, yeah. See guys, we have, see when you're typing, right? When you're trying to print something, we have print statement. There is another way you can print, right? You can print, which is nothing but you need to use this one. Another way of writing print statement, if you wanted to print, you can use display over there. Display, and this is the library from where you have to import display and you can utilize this. So you can see. Okay, I need to define it, otherwise it is giving me error. Let me copy this here and let me just copy it. See guys, how it worked. You need to use display. This is another method of printing. Print, and this is how you can use it. You need to use ipython.display and you need to import display. And we have something called count, guys. If you have some repeated elements, right? Consider you're working in a application and you have some repeated elements where you have some amount of tuples defined in that, and in those tuples you wanted to know what is the occurrences of, consider a phone number. What is the occurrences of phone number you have in that tuple variable or the tuple assigned? Then you can try to get by using count method. This is your count method, right? Tuple dot count. See, I have something called like this, my tuple, and I wanted to know the occurrences, how many times it is there. Now you can see it is giving me count of 3. Similarly, D, I have two type of, like, twice the occurrences happen, so it is twice, 2. It has printed 2. Then similarly, we have something called C. C, again, we have 2 occurrences, so it printed 2. And guys, tuples can be, like I told you, right? This is a method or this is a function, tuple function. You can use tuple function and you can try to create a tuple out of it. So this is how you can define tuple. So guys, I'm going to continue uh, with list assignments and operators, guys. Next. So guys, this is our end of part 1. I'm going to continue the coding part, rest of the coding part in our part 2. And yeah, again, guys, please subscribe and like and share your comments and hit the bell icon for all your latest updates. So let us go ahead and start with our part 2.